Hi there, this is Anne Marie, the anti-HR HR lady. And what I want to talk to you guys today about is retaliation at work. I want to help you guys recognize retaliation and know what to do about it when it occurs. I often tell my clients retaliation is a gift, even when it doesn't feel like it. But in order to recognize it as such, you have to know what to do when it occurs. So, who am I? I am Anne Marie, the anti-HR HR lady. I'm an HR consultant who provides employee focused HR support and advice to help you get the most out of your career. And I also spend a lot of my time helping my clients negotiate and exit discriminatory, hostile, and toxic work environments on their own terms with separations with severance. If this is of interest to you, please reach out to me to book a discovery call. The link is in bio. So I want to talk a little bit today about retaliation. In order to know how to handle retaliation when it occurs, it's important for you to recognize it and also to understand that it is a completely separate thing from discrimination, right? So you may be in a work environment where you recognize that your manager or someone else at your job is treating you in a discriminatory way. In other words, they're treating you differently, and that difference is having a negative impact on you. And they're doing it on the basis of either race, ethnicity, gender, age, disability, sexual orientation, or some other reason. But those areas that I just mentioned are what we call protected classes. And so under those categories, if someone is discriminating against you in the workplace, or in other areas of life, you can bring a legal claim against them. And in the workplace, you can also often bring a complaint to HR about it. So it's important for you to know that if you are in a protected class, you have every right to raise concerns about discrimination or other unequal treatment at work. But here's the thing. You might bring a complaint to your manager's attention or to HR or both, saying this thing happened, it feels discriminatory, I'd like you to do something about it. Immediately after that occurs, you notice your manager starts picking at you in meetings. They try to write you up for some minor infraction or some imagined infraction that they made up. They try to embarrass you in meetings. They make sarcastic comments, and so on. If that's the case, that's retaliation. So on top of the fact that you may have a claim of discrimination, they've now likely given you grounds to also go to HR and raise concerns about retaliation, right? Retaliation can be treated as a completely separate thing than discrimination. If you read the news often, you will find out about lawsuits and awards where the person got more money for the retaliation by the employer when the jury didn't even find for them on the discrimination. So what you need to understand is retaliation is a completely separate thing and is often treated completely separately. And so when an employer is stupid enough to behave in a retaliatory manner towards you because you raised a concern about discrimination, that's an extra gift. Treat it as such. So what do you do if your manager or someone else at work is retaliating against you and you believe it's because you raised a concern to HR? You need to document it. And I've talked a lot to you about documenting your workplace. Make sure you have a documentation journal. You can find one at the link in bio. Keep documentation of your workplace. Don't wait until something bad happens. You should be doing it from the first day of employment. But document the retaliation, go to HR and raise it verbally and then in writing. Go on record in writing that you believe you're being retaliated against and provide concrete examples. Now, HR may or may not do anything about it because unfortunately, often HR just protects the manager, but that's not the point. The point is to have a written record on file, right? So if you are being discriminated against, you raise a concern, and then all of a sudden your manager starts picking at you, messing with you, trying to write you up, giving you a negative performance review when all the times before that you had positive performance review, all of these things can be viewed as retaliation. Make sure that you keep record of it and that you raise it and bring it to the attention of human resources so that they cannot say that they don't have knowledge of it, and that also you can ask them to investigate what is happening, right? Now, if that doesn't work, you may have grounds to then bring an EEOC complaint against your employer and your manager and raise and provide examples of not just the discrimination, but also the retaliatory behavior that you also had to endure. And you can do that as a current employee as well as after you leave the employer, right? So if you are having these things happen to you at work, make sure you properly document them. Make sure you properly report them to human resources, which takes away their ability to pretend that they don't know about it. And also remember that you have a right to raise these things outside of the employer if the employer chooses not to do anything to rectify it. The only other thing I will add is if you want to leave the workplace, please talk to me before you do so. I really would like to discourage us from quitting jobs when they are discriminating against you. You have a right to take action inside of the job and outside of it. And the best time to negotiate an exit with pay is while you are still employed, right? So if you feel that they're discriminating against you and they're also retaliating against you, there are things that you can do to negotiate your own exit from that environment with pay. So you shouldn't just up and quit and leave and say, there's nothing, I can't take it anymore, and there's nothing I can do. Yes, there are things you can do, but you have to know how to recognize it, document it, report it, and then have the help that you need to make sure that you leave on your own terms with money in many cases, rather than just quitting and letting them off the hook. So remember, if you're being discriminated against at work, document it and report it. If your employer allows retaliation against you after you have done so, document and report that as well. And then reach out to me so we can talk about the next steps that you can take to negotiate your way out of that. Remember, HR is not your enemy, but they're definitely not your friend. But I am. I'm the anti-HR HR lady, and I'm here to help. See you in the next video.